to another reading vlog. This week is gonna be exciting because we have the end of the magical readathon and the start of Bookoplathon. And because I'm rolling as I go with Bookoplathon, I don't have a TBR for the full week. I just have what I have left to read for magical readathon, which is Pride and Prejudice, which I am 200 pages into, and I'm liking this. It's just that it's very slow and it's been like a slog to get through, but I am enjoying what is happening. And then I also need to read Galen by V. Schwab, which I have not started yet, but I will today. These are my two priorities for the next couple of days, for the rest of August, and then for September we'll see where that goes. Hi, how are you doing? It is Wednesday? Technically Thursday right now. But I managed to finish Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen a little before it's at midnight, and I'm so happy. Because for a while there I was looking like it wasn't gonna happen, but it did. I'm very glad it did. I ended up giving this 4 to 5 stars, which I definitely wasn't expecting. Like, this first half was like really slow and like kind of boring, and I wasn't really vibing with it as much, but like the second half makes up for it, you know? I mean, it's still slow and it can be a little bit of a slog to get through, and like sometimes I thought like get to the point, but eventually I think the way this romance is crafted is like so well done. And like, it isn't just about the romance, mainly about like Lizzie's kind of like character development, and that's done so well as well. And I love Lizzie so much, and also really love Darcy so much, and like their relationship together was like so good and so strong, and I loved it. But yeah, that means that's my last book for the magical readathon. So let me just quickly look at my like not chart but like my syllabus, because I marked the classes that I passed, and I'll tell you my grades in each of the classes. So I got an O in alchemy, a D in the art of illusion, so that means I did all 3 prompts, and I have an O for conjuration and an O for elemental studies, which O is 1. And then for lore I have a Q, which is 2 prompts, and then for restoration, by having read this, I have a D. And yeah, I'm not going towards any profession just because I feel like that just like puts too much pressure on things, and like it limits my reading too much, and I don't like it. So I opted to not go for profession and just see what I could read, and I'm actually very happy with how things turned out. But that means that August has ended, September has started, which means we have entered Bookoplathon, which is my favorite readathon. Like, the 48-hour round I honestly prefer over the month-long one, but I still really like the month-long one. I love Bookoplathon. It's run by Becca from Becca in the Books, and it's so fun. And what I like about it, especially the month-long one, is that it's so free and like low pressure. So I am using Bookoplathon to like determine what I'm reading physically, just because I have some guys from my gallery that I have to get to, and some library books I want to get to on ebook. That would just be like too much pressure to try and like fit in with different prompts, and I thought it would just be fun to have like my entire like physical TBR be like decided upon by the board instead of myself. But I did my first roll already. I'll be talking about it and you'll see on the screen, but I immediately rolled a double, which is great. And I've decided, because I'm rolling as I go, I decided that a double just means that I have to try and fit the 2 prompts for 1 book instead of like picking 2 books. I first got the prompt people, which means a book with like people on the cover, and then I got the community shelf prompt, just to like randomly generate like a prompt, and I used like the spinner wheel for it, and I got a newly hauled book, which means that I got these 3 books that I got recently. I got them in my last vlog, so go check it out. These are the 3 books that I got recently, and all 3 of them have people on the cover, so that didn't make a decision for me. I decided to go with The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, because this is the last book in the Inheritance Game series, and I'm just excited to finish up this trilogy and see what's gonna happen next. And I think this will be a great fun read to start off my month with. Hi, it is like late. I'm about to go to bed, but I just thought I'd update you because I finished The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This took me over a week to read. I'm not saying I was in a reading slam, but I wasn't reading for like a week. So I'm sorry for another like 2 weeks in one vlog, even though I've said before that I hate doing that. I do. Let's talk about The Final Gambit. And in the first book we follow Avery, who is like very poor and lives with her sister because she has a deadbeat father, and like her mother was dead, so she lives with her like half sister. And one day she gets pulled from class, and she's told, you're in this like will of like this very rich person that she never met. So she ends up having to go to the estate of this person. She expects to like maybe get like a little bit of money. It's kind of like a charity case, but she ends up inheriting almost everything, despite the family, you know, expecting they would get things, but they didn't. And the first book is kind of like more of a mystery about why she got that, and she has to like play these games a little bit with the grandchildren of this guy. And it's a bit more convoluted to explain than that, but I'm too tired to do that right now. This is the third and final book, and I really like this, which if you follow me on Instagram, I've been like updating as I read this. You might be shocked because for like the first like 200 pages of this, I said that I wasn't on the fence about this. There were a lot of things that I was liking, but there was like this one major element in this book that I can't talk about at all because I was spoiled so much. But there's a new character introduced in this book, and I hated that character. Character is so dumb and impulsive, and I didn't like them, especially because other characters who we know to be very smart just kind of like followed that character blindly. So that just frustrated me a lot while reading it. And then at the same time, I feel like as things were happening, like puzzle pieces started like falling together in my head, and I was looking at this ending that I was not happy with. So for a very long time, I was scared that I wasn't gonna like this book. But then, in like the last like a little under 200 pages, so it's like the last half, a lot of things happen. Like this gets so intense, and there's so many reveals, and it makes a character that I did not like better. Not because they become a better character, but you understand their motivations better. And I think it's so hard to talk about because all of the things that made me absolutely adore this book are spoilery, and I can't talk to you about that. But the way the mystery ended up revealing itself was just so well done, and I really liked the direction I ended up taking it. I thought it was such a great way to resolve this story, and it tied into so many things that were introduced in like the very beginning and I kind of forgot about, but like that, like the very beginning of the series, not of this book, and I really liked how that was done. Then I immediately also did my next wall because I'm doing a wall as I go, and I landed on color wheel, and I picked color wheel and I landed on pink. And turns out almost no book on my immediate TBR has pink. Like books I desperately want to read right now, none of them have pink. Like I have pink books on my TBR, don't worry. Like I don't know ones that I actually desperately want to read have pink. The only one that I really found that I feel like satisfied enough with the pink prompt is The Club by Ellery Lloyd, which I got from the library. Hi, I have a massive update for you. I hate myself this week because I feel like I read what I wanted to, and like I read the amount that I wanted to, but like I did not update you at all. So there we go. I mean, I did update you. I updated you when I finished this book, but like whatever, I did not update you this week. I need to get better at this vlogging thing because I really like it. I just for some reason constantly forget to do it. But let's talk about what I read since I last talked to you. So when I last talked to you, I said I was going to read The Club because it was the only book that I could find that had pink on it that I really wanted to read. But turns out I am just not really in the mood for this right now. I will probably read this before I have to get it back to the library. It depends on what Bookoplathon wants me to read. But this is like definitely still in the TBR for the month. But just at the moment in time, I wanted something different. So I went and like scrolled to my own TBR shelf on Goodreads to see what had a pink cover, because you know sometimes I can like look around and be overwhelmed, and I feel like on Goodreads it's like all like very clear, and that was a good shot because I saw that The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wan was on the TBR shelf, and I completely forgot that I owned it and that I hadn't read this yet. This is a graphic novel following a prince and a dressmaker, because the prince kind of like goes out at night and dresses up as a woman because like he is, I'm going to say pronouns wise is going to be difficult because they never really talk about pronouns, but they are gender fluid and sometimes present as a boy and sometimes present as a girl, and it's like kind of like he feels like he has to hide that girl identity because it won't be accepted by, you know, his family, his kingdom, because he has a prince. But he ends up hiring a girl, Frances, who is a dressmaker and who wants to make it in the world of fashion. This is such a cute graphic novel. I really liked it. It was 5 stars. And this honestly reminded me that I need to read more graphic novels. I think I have read almost all of the ones that I own currently. I really like the art style. Like, it was just like a random page without too many spoilers. And just every time main character like Francesca like design a new dress, like for example like here, like I spent a minute just like looking at it because they're so beautiful. I really liked Francesca and Sebastian and their own like separate journey, but also their relationship together. I really love following it. I love the main storyline in this one, and I ate this up. I re-rolled the dice to get my next prompt, and it got first person perspective, which I'm very excited about because it led me to a book that I've been very hyped to read ever since I bought it last month, and that's Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. This is a adult romance book. I'm 54 pages into this one, so not far, but like I have read a little bit. So far, I'm not too sold on the writing. At times it can feel a little bit juvenile, but not as in the characters feel young, but as in it feels like the person who wrote this was like 13 years old. But like for the rest, I am really liking this. So, but like I'm only like this far in, so that's nothing. But I am hoping to continue on with it really soon. And yeah, that's it for physical books. I am also reading Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match by Sally Thorne. I'm like 53% of the way through this, and this is about Angelica Frankenstein, who is the sister, made up fictional sister, of course. I mean, all of these characters are fictional, but like made up for this book specifically, sister of Victor Frankenstein, who we all know from the Mary Shelley book. And on the night that Victor made his monster, Angelica also brought to life a human that she is expecting to be her husband. Like, she has had troubles on the marriage market, nobody really seemed interested in her, so she like made her ideal husband. And honestly, I'm not liking this one that much. I am very curious about where things going because it is like a romance, but like there's also a bit of a mystery element because the guy that like was brought to life like doesn't have his memories anymore, so like they're trying to find out who he was and if he has like a family, wife, stuff like that out there. I think that part is like keeping me intrigued to keep going, but like all the rest I'm not liking. So I'm just say that I am reading that. I haven't talked about that at all, but that is something that is happening, so you know that I have read a little bit more than what I said for the rest of this vlog. But yeah, that's it. This was a long-ass update. I apologize. Hopefully next week I'll be able to like vlog more often because I hate myself because this is just not fun to watch. I know. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys then.
Why does the guy thing have to be so complicated?